Oh, hey, there you are. I was just here on a Saturday cleaning up. Steve-O's here with me, and he and I have been going over some footage, and we realized that, boy, I really screwed the pooch on this one. We got a whole pile of footage with no story to finish out. That's right, we started videoing almost everything that came through the shop for a very long time. And then sometimes the clock strikes 12, and Cinderella's got to go. So here's some glass slippers that we left on the floor. We hope you enjoy them. Be sure to like, subscribe, share. Maybe you'll find a tech tip that you enjoy. And I present to you Gonzo Mechanic.
Click that like button and subscribe to the channel. Also, if you would like more content, follow social media at CodyCrafted on Instagram.
Alrighty, so it's the next go around. Car's running, so it's a little loud. Sorry about that. Yeah, I've been working on stuff. That's better, I guess. Alrighty, so we've been tweaked on the timing. We doubled up the gaskets and then reoriented the plugs and moved a couple plug wires around so we could set our timing better. I've got it set at about 15 degrees base timing. So we got to where it idles and kind of revs pretty good. All kind of dialed in. Now, a couple things. With the Holly, you've got a full screen that shows you a bunch of stuff, and then you got to go in and individually change those items, switch back and forth between the dashboard. Vitec's kind of similar. What they're wanting is for 1 to 3 on the idle air control motor. Normally we go from 0 to 100% on a Holly. A little bit different, so it took a little reading. Right now, try to get that glare out of there. Right now we are running a little warm, but we'll be okay. We're shooting for 720 RPM, idle air controls at 63. Earlier we had it in a setting, back, and we were in tuning, idle control, idle screw set to 0. We went to normal and the thing jumped way up. So we went back to all 0 and it idled down. So just like Holly, you're looking for, thank you, sir. We're looking to get that number down. So we're gonna add throttle position and watch that number. So we're down to 60. And I'm just turning up the screw right here. See how RPM increases and that number's coming down? Sorry, I don't know about the glare here, guys. There we go. Now we're getting somewhere. There we go. It's fine, it's still recording. I'm backing it back down a little bit. You want some idle air control because you want the IAC doing something. You don't want it just sitting there. So now we're down 6, 7, 8, 9. It's kind of hunting, but we're gonna get there in a second. There we go. That's better. Some of the guys on the forums say less than 10, because on the Holly we shoot for 5 to 8, roughly. Now we're down there where we want to be. All right, now it's time to go drive this thing, see how it does. Okay, so now that we've got that dialed in, I went to crank it back up and the idle hangs way high. So we're going to go into our tuning screen and we're going to idle control and actually we're going to go into crank and warm up. So crank IAC's at 100%. We're going to go down to like 72. Let's see what that does. Back. Large gauges. Let's see how this does. Better. Yes, that fuel pump's loud. Okay, so crank. We're gonna crank that down to 53. Sure, sounds great. And we're gonna go to let's go back. Let's go to idle control. Loop rate up. We're gonna turn that down a little bit. And loop rate down, we're gonna turn that up. Get this thing to react a little faster. All right. Sorry about the glare. See how fast that IAC is coming down now and how it didn't hang at 1300 like it did before? That's a lot better. That's a whole lot better. Okay, we need to get some air flowing through this thing. Yeah. I'm working with what I got here, people. All right, now our temps are starting to come down a little bit. Still a little warmer than I'd like, but there it goes. 213. We're doing a number of miles per hour. Speedometer's nowhere near right. Let's see. GPS. Hey, 50 and a 50. What do you know? It's like 70 degrees. It shouldn't be that hard to keep this thing cool. $210, 1800 RPM, 10% throttle. See if we can get her to kick down. Now we need to work on the kickdown cable. But it's cooled off. That's nice. The ride's not horrible. 206. There we go. We want to be down under 200, or right around 200. It's blowing out the right side, and then started coming out the left side too. All right, thanks for your help, bud. Have a good night. See you tomorrow afternoon. Have a great day at school, buddy. Well. Oh. Yeah. You missed that, Steve. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. What?
I said, and action.
And, no, you're fine. You're fine. What up, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are gonna see if we can fit 37s on this gorgeous 2023 Duramax 2500 AT4 Bougie Mobile Tow-O-Matic 5000. No, I have finally washed a bunch of my old Stool Polos, so it's well, it also with the humidity and the sweat. All right, so we're gonna roll it back and forth. Go backwards. Herky jerky on the brakes. All right, let's grab a tape measure. And we are, yeah, see, it came down a ½ inch from where it was. We are 40 and a half to the bottom of the fender. Yeah, it was up a ½ inch from the AR and bind. And 40 and 3/8 on this side with no driver. So we'll actually, that'll be in good shape. First step on this deal is we are gonna jack it up. We're gonna pull the wheels off, of course, secure it on jack stands. And we got to get rid of those stock shocks because on the torsion bar Chevy trucks, and this applies to the older ones too, you cannot crank the torsion bars without at least shock extensions or a longer shock. Of course, our kind of entry point is Bilstein at our shop. Don't really do anything less than a Bilstein. And so we got a surprise. So since we don't do anything halfway here at CodyCrafted, what does the fox say?
What does the fox say?
All right, guys, as you can see, we did orient the hose to the outside per the directions. Yeah, let me try this. Move this mic back over, Steve. And new clip. Okay, as you can see here, we've oriented our resi so that I can fit my finger right back in here. We got some clearance, and then also we got just enough clearance.
We have clearance, Clarence.
Roger, Roger. What's our vector, Victor?
Right in here. It's really tight, but it is doable. Could probably lower it just a little bit if we needed to, but I think we'll be good right there. Of course, when the customer comes back for their retorque at 500 to 1,000 miles, we'll check it and just make sure it's not being impacted. I think we'll be in good shape though. So shock's all installed, and now we're gonna move on to torsion bars. Okie dokie, gang. So I don't know how many. Oh, no, you're good. You're working. I'm done. Yeah, well, don't ever apologize for working. All right, so we got us a 22 here, and of course the weight has to be off the tires. Can't have any weight on the tires. Get you where you can see. Okay, so right here, this bolt. You got a paint pen? All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna come in here. We're gonna put us a mark. On here, and I'm actually going to put one on the threads so I can see the threads maybe. And this is just so we can count turns if we need to. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this hole right here on my socket and I'm going to line it up right there. That way it's easy for me to count, right? If I have to ratchet, but I don't. We're just gonna go, let's go with 4 turns. Let's see what that does. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, and that leaves me, I don't know, about 3/8 of an inch of thread. So I'm gonna do the same on the other side. the only reason I'm going 4 turns is because I don't have a point of reference. So I don't know what 2 turns does. I don't know what 4 turns does, but it's a nice even number that helps me know where I need to be. So same deal. Oh, you know what? That actually is probably a 21, not a 22. There's no force on it. It's okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Now we're gonna let it down. Half inch.
What?
Is that a half inch drive?
Yeah, you need a 21, right?
Maybe. Okay. All right, so now we can let it down. Okay, we've rolled it back and forth. We were at 41.5. We're at 41.25. So that didn't do a whole lot. I'm gonna say we need to jack them all the way in and then see what that does, and we'll let one out if we have to. Alrighty, your mileage may vary, but with the torsion bars cranked in the front, we're at 42.5. But we're not doing anything in the rear. He's got sumo springs. We're not doing add-a-leash, we're not doing blocks, doing any of that kind of stuff. So we're actually gonna pull some back out of the front. So now we're gonna count, I don't know, maybe we'll do like 5-6 turns out, something like that. So I'm gonna play with it, and then I'm gonna tell you the final number. Alrighty, so the GMC is headed over to the alignment shop because we did make a ride height adjustment, which means that we changed the toe and maybe the... Hey y'all, welcome back to the... Is this okay? Do we care?
Just be you.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we'll change some of the things we say, but as far as like, there's actually something to be said about the hand movements. I was actually watching something the other day, so gestures is fine.
Yeah.
Instead of being... So, yeah, be you.
Yeah.
Fine. You do you, boo-boo.
Hey y'all, welcome back to CodyCrafted. We are revisiting our high school sport truck today. We got a little bit of misfire issues, and we're running into intermittent, really poor running condition. So today we're going to talk about diagnosis, and you're going to follow us on the path of how to fix it. If you've missed the high school sport truck build videos, check them out up here. There is 5 episodes about building this motor as the perfect little hot rod truck for your high school kid. Today, the problem is, I guess we can stop for a second there, and all right, so high school sport truck's been on the road for almost a year now. We have had some intermittent misfire codes pop up, codes PO 300, but no specific cylinders per se. What we have not done is turn off misfires in the tune. So we've got our HP Tuners VC Suite VCM scanner pulled up here. Right now we're currently data logging. I've tried to run the cam crank relearn and tried to fix it and still got it where it ran bad. We were getting PO341, which is cam position sensor performance. The cam position sensor on this particular, on the 4.3s and on the Vortex, is actually the distributor. It's in the distributor itself. The only way to repair that is to replace the distributor. The distributors in these are notorious for going bad, and they're also relatively inexpensive. They're about $100 to $150 for an aftermarket replacement. And so the original distributors actually have a plastic body. Most of the aftermarkets do have an aluminum body, in my experience. So we pulled that distributor out and got to looking at it, and everything seems fine, but with aftermarket parts these days, you never can tell. Things are pretty hit or miss as far as what you get from the parts store. We've had a lot of problems over the last few years of bad parts straight out of the box, especially parts for older cars, points, condensers, you know, coils, ballast resistors, the parts interchange really isn't as good as it used to be even back 10 or 20 years ago. So where we're at right now, I'm going to run it for just a second to show you guys what it's doing. I have actually already at this point replaced the distributor. Part of the problem that we've run into, and we ran into this on the original install, is with the comp cams that we've got, or comp cam supplied camshaft that's in the motor, you have to stab the distributor in a specific spot the way it's set up. You want to hand me that distributor? You can cut here for a second. All right, so when you get your new distributor, it's going to come with a cap and the rotor pre-installed. The ironic situation is there's a sticker on it that says warranty void if this is removed, and if you pull the cap off, it voids the warranty. That really isn't possible because you cannot install it without taking the cap off. Right here on the distributor, you should be able to see the little tab, and when it's installed, the rotor should point directly at this little V-shaped tab inside. The clocking of the distributor is fixed. There is one bolt hole in the intake manifold where it bolts down, so there is no timing adjustment like on a traditional small block. Now, the problem is, when we stab the distributor in, I can only get the rotor to point here or here. It will not land exactly. I'm half a tooth off. One tooth is here. If I move over to the next tooth, it's here. I'm half a tooth off either way. Now, the trick on that is the gear on the bottom. It just has to do with the way it meshes with the aftermarket camshaft. There's a roll pin right here. So what we're going to do is, since we've had this has already been done on this distributor, but we're going to pull the one out of the motor and we're going to drive this pin out, and we're going to rotate this gear 180 degrees and pop the pin back in. Now what that's going to do is split the difference between the teeth. The way the numbers of teeth fall in relation to the hole in the middle, it will make it where it lands right where it's supposed to be. We're pretty sure. It worked on this one, so we're going to try it on the new one. I thought maybe we would try it and do a crank relearn procedure, but that did not jive. I tried to do that last night off camera. So anyway, so we're going to set this aside. I'm going to run it for just a second to show you guys what it's doing. You should be able to see the HP Tuner's data. It is data logging right now, and so I'm going to fire it up, and you guys listen, and you'll hear what's going on. Okay, so you can hold that so you can pick up the engine noise. And we're just going to run it for a second. Whenever you're ready.
Okay.
So you can see right here, the white is the timing advance, and it is all over the place. So we're gonna stop our log and come down here, and we can zoom in and move our data point over just a little bit. Okay, so you guys can see red is RPM, green is our O2 voltage, which is going to kind of vary because it's cold. Map is how much vacuum is going on, and then we've got the white. White is our spark. So at idle, at this point, we're at 14 degrees of timing, and that's controlled by the ECU, because once again, the distributor's locked out, and there's nothing we can do there. And then once I started tipping in, so throttle position sensor is, where's our TPS? TPS is green right here. So as you see, we barely tipped in. Right here, I'm at 5% throttle, and our spark jumped to 24 degrees of timing, and then I held it here at 24% of throttle, and our timing jumped to 11.9 and all the way up into 32 degrees of timing because it's trying to make it run right. So the problem is the ECU is picking up on the timing being wrong, and it can't correct enough. It's outside of its range of correction in order to let the engine run, which is why it was bucking and popping and round and running bad. So it's just like if your small block Chevy was, you know, if your distributor was loose and it was slipping around because the computer's looking for all over the place. So we're going to pull the distributor out of it. I'm going to show you guys how to change that gear over. Then we're going to go back and run the same test. We'll do a crank relearn procedure. I've already tried that, and it didn't work. It just did the same thing. And so we'll do a cam crank correlation relearn, and we'll see if we can get it back running like it's supposed to be. And hopefully we can get rid of that cam sensor code that keeps popping up. The misfire code, there's a little bit of discussion on the internet that, you know, you could have a mechanical problem, could have an issue with this or that. We've checked everything over. We've already run compression test on it. We've ran the valves to make sure that all our valve lashers are right. I've already been through this thing before, and it runs fine. It'll just randomly throw a misfire at idle. And because this cam has a little bit of chop in it, the tuner and I and the owner are kind of the opinion, and it's just the computer kind of doesn't like this much cam, because this is the biggest computer controlled cam that comp sells for this setup. So we're gonna pull that distributor and we'll see what happens. Hopefully we can fix it. So first things first, get our intake off. Get this out of the way. Okay, now if you can get, there is room to get down in here. So don't think there's not. It's tight. Don't get me wrong. You do have to loosen the wiring harness from its retainers here and here. And it tucks kind of behind this air cleaner stud is really the kind of the best way to do it. We're going to pop our plug wires off. Okay, so that's out of the way. And we grab our Torx. So this is a T20. Take the screws out of the cap. Now the factory caps and the original ones are, the little screws are captured, so you don't have to worry about losing them. But on these aftermarket caps, they're not. They're just little machine screws. So be real careful not to lose them, because they're small enough that the odds of them getting all the way back to the ground and being able to find them might be a little slim. You know? 2 screws, one on the front, one on the back. Okay. There's one. And the front one is probably easiest because you can't get your fingers in there. It's probably easiest to put your thumb over it and then just lift the cap out of there. Of course, it really helps if you unscrew it all the way. Boy, that one's really just hanging on for dear life, isn't it? Okay, so our cap is out. This cap has literally been in here for 5 minutes worth of running, maybe. So, put our screws up here, get our cap out of the way. All right, next thing is, on the back, there's a 3-pin connector. Can't see it until you take the cap off. All right, now, the next thing you need is you can either use a 5/8 on a breaker bar, or you can have a friend bump the starter. I believe you are the friend. But I need a flashlight too, so let me grab a flashlight. Where is my flashlight? Did I leave it sitting in there?
I think one of them was sitting on my desk.
Oh.
It's not, I know it's not the one you're looking for. But
I wonder if I'll have to sit on my desk. All right, so we're gonna watch the timing mark down here, and I'll show you guys how that looks here in a second. Okay, it won't start, so you're just gonna bump it. Go ahead. All right, we gotta go all the way around. Getting close, one more. Do it again. Yeah, if you think you can do one short one. Ooh. Maybe another one of those. Oh, okay. We barely overshot it. That's okay.
try to go back around?
Yeah, might as well, because turning backwards is going to be tough. This thing's got some compression. Go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, you can let it crank for a second. Go ahead. All right, we're getting close. All right, hold it right there. Because it hits a compression stroke right there, and it no like. So, now that we're close, and I know we're close because I'm watching the cap turns at actually at a fourth of the speed of the crank. Yeah, pretty sure it's a fourth of the speed of the crank. Anyways, the cam turns at half the speed of the crankshaft, and then the distributor turns off of the camshaft. So it basically, if this is pointing in the right direction and then you hit the timing mark, that's when you know you're good. You're not 180 degrees out. So what we're gonna do is get down in here. And this is kind of tough to reach. You don't get a lot of throw on your wrench action just because we've got a manual fan and all that still. So we're gonna shooting in the dark here to some extent. You got to use your raccoon fingers and work by feel. You can actually hold it and go down through here and then get your lean on and get all the way down here. If you got grill arms like me, you can do this. And you can feel the bolt and get your ratchet on the crank. Okay. So we're going to watch our timing mark through here. We're going to watch our distributor. Oh. Nope, did I get it again? Nope. Damn it! See? Kind of sucks. And I would crawl underneath and do it, but this truck's low, so I don't really want to. Also, there's a cross member in the way on these. So you want to go kind of slow on this. I should reposition myself. You want to go kind of slow on this because the bolt is tightening that goes into the balancer, or it holds the balancer on, and you don't want to over tighten it and risk breaking the head off or something like that. So if you've still got the plugs and everything in, you don't want to get too rowdy with this. Otherwise, you'll wind up way over tightening it and either have a bolt head or a thread problem. Okay, there we are. We're getting really close.
So right now you're shooting for TDC?
Right now I'm shooting for TDC.
Top dead center for those people.
Top dead center, number 1 cylinder. The method on the Vortec motors is a little different than it is on a traditional small block. Because on a traditional small block, you would want the gear to point at the number 1 cylinder, and it doesn't on Vortex. Vortec 5.7, 5.0, and 4.3. It doesn't point there. They use a crab cap, so your plug wires actually crisscross. You can see the design here. So like your number 1 cylinder is here when it would normally be here. So, but the firing pin for it is, well, actually this goes, yeah. So this goes this way in here. So your number 1 cylinder comes out this side and the pin for it is over here. So you can see the path. So it would normally be like on a V8, it would be 1843657 but on this one it's 135246. So something to pay attention to. Yes, it is a distributor like a small block or an old school motor, but it's not the same. So if you want, I'll show the folks at home. Top dead center down here. You want me to use a pointer? You should be able to look right. The angle is right here.
Yellow mark?
So the yellow mark correlates with the tab on the timing cover. Can you see the tab on the timing cover? Okay, so you got the yellow mark, and then there is. Let me see if I can get you better. That other flashlight's brighter. Okay. Yeah. So the yellow mark correlates with the tab on the timing cover. With a notch. Good golly, it's really hard to film that. I think you got to get. No, I think you got. I mean, I have to look at it from here.
I can see the line, I just can't see the notch.
Well, damn it.
What notch are we looking for? Show me.
You see it? You got to look straight down the barrel of the flashlight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the bracket is in your way. Let me see if I can do this. I don't think I can get it in there. There's a lot going on in this motor. You're trying to film stuff. Can you see that? Does that do anything for you? No.
That's fine.
Okay. Where's my other light? This one's dead.
Even when you had light down there, it was having a hard time getting an angle.
Yeah.
That because it's kind of tucked up underneath.
Okay. We'll come grab this B-roll though of the distributor. So you go over the top, and I'll get my screwdriver so I can point. All right, so we know we're at top dead center, but you guys can see this. All right, you got it? Okay, this tab is what we want this rotor to point directly at. And as you can see, we're about a 3/8 of an inch off in our rotation. And I can see the angle better from here. It's
Start over.
okay, so as you can see, there's the little V notch right here, or little V tab. So as you can see, there's a little V tab inside the distributor body right here, and we want our rotor to point directly at it. But as you can see, it's not quite in line. It's more here, and it needs to be here. Now, if we were to pop the distributor up, rotate the oil pump just a little bit, and put it back down on the next tooth, this rotor would point here. So we're between two teeth. So we're AKA half a tooth off. So in order to fix that half a tooth, what we're going to try, because it should work, number one, I've done it before. Number two, the internet tells me it works. What we're going to try to do is flip that gear and see if we can get it to land dead on right here. So we're going to yank this distributor out. You want to watch me take the bolt out, or?
Now.
Okay. So I've found the best tool is about a 10-inch long extension, 10-12-inch long extension, and a 10mm swivel. And that is just going to be enough to get it to loosen. If you look down below the distributor, you will see the one bolt. There's nothing else in the way. You just got to get the right angle on it. Now the only downfall to the 10 swivel is that it's very long, and you don't have a lot of room under the body of the distributor. So we're just going to use this to do the first little bit, because then we run out of room. Now that we've got that off, I find a 10mm with a swivel head ratcheting wrench. We want to make sure we're in the loosened position. Pull this back, and you can slip your hand right inside and barely see the top of the bolt. And then so we do our little ratchety thing for a couple turns until it gets to the point that it won't ratchet anymore. And then it'll come right out. Put it with our hardware. Okay, so now we have this AC line routed across the back here, so you got to kind of play with the distributor to get it in and out. There's also a lot of insulation on the back, or on the firewall, and you don't want that junk falling down in the motor if you can avoid it. And so we're going to come wiggle, wiggle, and then to get it out of here, I actually find you have to go over the top of the AC line, pull this harness back out of the way, and then that gives you a little bit of wiggle room so that you can pull it. You got to turn it just right, because it's got that connector on it, so it's a little wider one direction. You don't want to jack with that AC line too much, so try to be careful with that. And you can fish that distributor out of there. Okay. I'm gonna reset over here. Or you can do it by hand if you want. Okay, now to keep from messing up the body of our distributor, we got some soft jaws. These are a little long, but I think they'll fly. Alright. Don't kill it. Alright, so as you can see, the gear is what turns the rotor. So what we're going to do is, just to keep ourselves squared away, we're going to look at this roll pin, and it's vertical right now. And if we turn it this way, okay, here's what we want to do. So So let me grab a paint pen. Oh, they're at the front of the drawer where my eyeballs can't see them. Okay, so in order to keep from getting ourselves mixed up, we're going to mark the rotor and our orientation of our gear. So right now we have it vertical, so I'm going to put one little orange line on the cap, and I'm going to put one little orange line right down here where nothing else is affected. And that way we know where we started. So we get a punch. It'll take a minute. Actually probably need a bigger, slightly bigger. See how you could easily mess this up? We grab a slightly bigger punch. Alright, so we got us a nice punch here. Somebody bent. Probably the same guy that ground the tips off my
I was just thinking.
pliers. If you haven't seen that video, check that video out. Which video was that?
It was actually a sport truck video.
Was it? I thought it was on Suburban.
I know it was a comment on one of the sport truck videos.
Maybe it was when I was doing the exhaust. It's not going all the way out. We don't want it to go all the way out. Ta-da. Okay. So, yep. All right. Oh, we're really close. We gotta have our small punch again. So you need an assortment of punches. Of course, your shop should have an assortment of punches. Now you don't want to drive it all the way out because starting punches on round stuff is not easy. Okay, here we go. So we got our orange mark here, we got our orange mark here. And we can look through and we can see all the way through. And all we want to do, we don't want to take it off. Just tap it one more time.
Just tap it in.
Just tap it out. Okay, here we go. And you can look through the roll pin and you can see where the punches, or where the holes are lined up. So then we come back. Hold it a little more solidly so we don't mess the body up. So a little bit hanging off one side or the other is okay, as long as it's all the way through. Obviously make sure you don't have any metal shards. That would be bad, seeing as this goes back in the engine. Make sure you got any dirt on it. Okay, back in. I think this is where the old installation is the reverse of removal comes into play. So same deal, we're just gonna snake it in right back here, right back here. I'm gonna try to tuck this, get it just over the hold down. Alright. Yeah, there we go. Without knocking too much schmutz down in your motor. Okay. Now you might have to wiggle it a little bit to get it to go in there. And then it just falls right down. Okay, so now that we've got that right back where it goes, we haven't moved the oil pump. So the oil pump is driven by a flat blade, and then the oil pump's got a notch in the drive shaft for it, and then in the center of that gear there's a cross pin, so that pin sits like this. So if that was out of whack, we could just take a long screwdriver and a flathead screwdriver and just barely clock the oil pump. So as the distributor comes down, the cap is going to turn into position. So don't line it up where it's supposed to be, line it up before it's supposed to be, because those gears are helical. They're not straight. All right, so now that we've got that in, we're going to take our bolt, and we're going to start our bolt. You don't have to tighten it down yet, but you want to make sure, number one, you want to try not to drop it like I just did, but I got it. My fingertips are on it. Nope, we gotta get a magnet. I can touch it, but I can't pick it up. So we got us a little magnet. I can see the bolt. And I can touch it. I just can't get both my fingers on it. Oh. All right, so back to where we were. Get our bolt started. Just gonna put it in a couple of threads so that we can see our orientation. And then, as you can see, you want your B-roll camera or you want the GoPro? Here you go. You can check it. Oh, you can see the orientation from where it was. All right. Let me know when you're ready.
Okay.
All right, and as you can see, now our rotor is pointed directly in line with our little notch that we're supposed to line up with. So we did it. Rotating the gear gave us that half a tooth that we were looking for. So at this point, once you've confirmed that everything is right, you can lock it. Let me rephrase that. Okay, so at this point, once we've confirmed that our alignment is correct, we could lock down our distributor. Make sure we plug our cam position sensor back in, which is the 3-pin connector. It's pointed at the steering wheel in this orientation. Don't forget that. It will run like dog snot if you forget it. Ask me how I know.
How do you know?
Well, so what had happened was, shout out to my over-the-top creeper. Perfect for working on trucks. Tell you what, the Suburban would have damn near been impossible without this thing.
You know,
Well, for old people like us.
it was funny. I was when I was working late at the shop that night, and Jared needed those fuel line parts for his buddy.
Yeah.
I had to pull the parts out and FaceTime with him to kind of so he could tell me what he needed.
Yeah.
And I set him on top of the creeper, and he's like, "Y'all bought an up top creeper?" And I was like, "Yeah, we kind of needed one after you took yours away." And he's like, "Oh, well, I don't even use mine anymore. I'd have just sold it to you."
I'm like, well,
A little late now.
yeah. Well,
However, the new shop might have.
I'm sure we'll have room and need for two, especially if we got two technicians. Yeah, I mean, he's doing diesel stuff right now, so he probably doesn't need it very often. Okay, I can put those away. All right, this is the point where you want to make sure you plug in that cam position connector. And we can put our distributor cap back on. The coil plug, because it's 6 cylinders, so you got cylinders, and the one where the coil goes for the center, it goes back left, so towards the passenger seat.
It's actually the right side of the vehicle.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, it are.
I don't even think it picks. It won't probably doesn't barely hear me anyway. Since we're mic on.
Okay. So just like when we came out, if you have a cap that has retained screws, that would be nice. But if you can put your fingertips over the top of them to get it in there as you install it,
because it does have to kind of do-si-do to get down in there. It'll make alignment a little easier once you get them started. Just be real mindful, and then put your fingers over your bolts, your little machine screws, and then try to get her lined up. The cap only goes on one way. The screws only fit in one spot. They kind of got it all figured out, other than the fact that you can't adjust it. Yeah, be real careful not to drop these. That'd be bad, okay? Because they're like a weird thread pitch, and it's just not good. But you want them nice and snug. And then our wires are routed pretty well, probably because I did them. But make sure you trace your plug wires back to the right spots, and we'll double check them just in case. So we got a coil goes in the rear on your left and locks on, and then these three are set up to go here, but we're going to double check our routing just in case. So 2, 4, 6 as you face the radio dial. So we'll go 6 is definitely in the rear, 4 is definitely in the middle, and 2 is most certainly the forward one. Okay. Strangely enough, or not strangely enough, but coincidentally enough, let me try that again. Coincidentally enough, if you get your plug wires wrong, it'll try to run like it just did a minute ago. So then you'll wind up doing a whole bunch of work for nothing, because you'll pull it back apart and you'll think you screwed something up. The same thing on the driver's side. Our plug wires are captured, so they're pretty right. We know that 5 goes in the back. That is 5. 1 goes in the middle. And yep. Okay. All right. Wiring harness back on. Intake. Make sure you didn't leave any tools laying under there. Blotter. And snug up your cold air intakes. Okay. Oh yeah, one more tech tip. Remember talking about the, let me just turn it on. Oh, never mind. That one's chrome. I thought it was stainless. I was like, don't drop those little screws. This is one from the cap we took off. They're stainless, but this one isn't. So keep a magnet with you. Top tip. Also, top tip, don't hit your head on the hood latch. This one, not so bad. The Suburban? Yeah. Got myself right in the medulla oblongata about 6 times. Alright, clean our junk up here. Okay. Key on, Steve. Alright, the dome lamp override on the headlight switch, push it twice. Do it faster. There it goes. All right, so we're going to connect to the vehicle. Oh, it didn't like it. Hit the Bluetooth button. All right, so we'll connect to the vehicle, open the interface. on our HP Tuner software. And start scanning. Sounds good. Okay. Start her up. Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay.
Did you still have the
Yeah.
wrench on the...
Yeah, cut that out. Okay, we've started scanning. Steve, go ahead.
Did I mess it up by turning the ignition off?
No, it's fine. All right, we're looking at our timing. Our spark is sitting at about 12, 14 degrees because we're cold. All right, try to give it a little bit of throttle. Let's see if it fixed it. Fantastic. Okay. So now we're going to go to diagnostics and info. Actually, sorry, nope. We're going to go over here to vehicle controls and special functions. Go to engine, special functions, crank relearn. You're going to gradually rev to fuel cut and then release and then shut it off. Yeah, it's going to rev limit in park. Just easy, don't slam it. Go ahead. Okay. Go ahead and shut it off. We may try that again in a minute, but we'll see how that goes. It sounded good though. All right, we're gonna stop scanning. We're gonna pull it out of the shop and we're gonna take it around the block and see if we fixed our problem. We're gonna clear our codes and see if we got her. Well, what do you think? No, really, like, what do you think? As of time of recording, I haven't watched any of that yet. So we want to know what you think about it. Couple little housekeeping things. This is a stroker V6 for Steve-O's kid's car, Corbin. Except took so long to get this far because things that Corbin's now got a 2019 Mustang and his 2003 is kind of a back burner project. But this is a 4.2 stroker. I guess I should have showed it to you before I bagged it all up. It's got a little bit of cylinder head work and we got a ported intake to go on it, and it's got a little cam in it, and it's got some headers and all that fun stuff. It's one of the little projects that are in the bag around here, or in the back pocket around here. We'll be starting on this one pretty soon. Steve just brought the car down today, so we're gonna yank the old 3.8 out and put this in, and then he'll have a nice little convertible cruiser, so that's cool. Other things that are coming down the pipe, right over here, step this way, right this way, sir. 3rd floor, pretty pink things, and darts, yeah. Got a video going for this one. Episode 1 should drop real soon. I would imagine either before or right after this video, I would assume. But 408 stroker, full QA1 front clip underneath, Willwood brakes, all kinds of fun stuff. We got some wheels, this set, and yada yada. Other things going in the shop. This FJ Cruiser, he's a ham radio operator. I'm sure you give him a shout out if you see it. That one's getting an LRA tank, and it's got some fancy high clearance exhaust thing that's gonna try to run right through the middle of that LRA. So we're gonna have to do some custom exhaust work on that one. That Land Cruiser sitting out there, if you can catch a glimpse of that. That one got a set of Kings and an LRA tank also. No video on that one, just trying to get that one done. Might do a walk around when it's all said and done. There's the Mustang. Back over here, your left, my right as you face the radio dial. That 85 Bronco, it's got a full Desolate Stage 2 kit underneath it. Some of the parts and pieces are just down here to your left. Transmission is
a Gear Star level 5, and it had to go get its output shaft swapped out so that it would work with the transfer case that we're trying to use, the NP208. The motor is in that box sitting right back there. This 68 Nova, first year for this body style. It's kind of a 1 year only rig for a few intricacies. We built a transmission tunnel. That's pretty cool. Fabricated that all up, got that all welded in. Steve and I are working on the wiring, slowly but surely. Now that we got the transmission tunnel done, we can work on that. Oh yeah, it's got an LSA. It's cool. Got to get this thing done. Don't really have time to film it. You know, this is why we can't film everything that rolls through the shop. Super Duty, this belongs to one of our clients on the fab shop side, and we just got to fix some stuff. Not any reason to really film all that. The Burb, you know the Burb. You love the Burb. You know you want to buy the Burb. The Burb's for sale. That's right. Clifford the Big Red Bourbon can be yours. Reach out. Shoot us sales@CodyCrafted.com. That'll go straight to Steve. He'd love to make you a deal on it, I promise. All right, guys, that's about it. That's what we got going right this second. We got a pile of other stuff. The phone's ringing every day, and that's all thanks to you guys. About every third person that calls me says, hey, we found you on YouTube, and I appreciate it very much. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed this slightly different video take. If you got something you want to see, jump in the comments. If you need anything, shoot us an email, sales@CodyCrafted.com. We are a working shop, and we're here to make your toys better. Give us a holler. Build cool shit. We'll see you on the next one.